It's time for Did You Watch It?
How does this show work? We watch what we like, we talk about what we watch, and maybe you'll like what you hear. I'm Liz.
And I'm Neil. Last night, we watched episode 8 of The Bachelor season 19. The show aired on Monday, February 16th, 2015. Here's what we thought about it. Whenever I hear a sentence that ends with the phrase, in Bachelor history, I tend to throw up in my mouth a little. Fearless Host had the nerve to say that the confrontation between Britt and Chris was, quote, one of the most uncomfortable moments in Bachelor history.
Well, it was.
Note to Fearless Host, ease up on the histrionics, dude. We are all not Drew Barrymore on 51st dates. Our memory is fine.
Oh my gosh.
Because I can think of at least 3 that were worse than this.
Really? Just in your...
Claire and Nikki last season.
Well, yeah.
Up in the room.
But you gotta admit, the thing between Britt and Chris was super uncomfortable.
Juan Pablo and Andy last season.
Yes, that was uncomfortable.
Juan Pablo and Claire twice. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, see, those are all recent history, though. That's recent history. Last couple seasons.
Because that's what I know.
Yeah.
Based on my limited exposure, I whipped out 4 that were worse than Chris and Britt last night.
Yeah.
I have to give my annual disclosure. I'll keep it brief. The statements that I make about the people that we see on this show are not directed at the people themselves, but at the characters they are portraying and which have been directly or indirectly created as a result of the editing of the footage and the producer's manipulation of the situations.
Feel better now?
I feel better now.
Oh,
so now
gosh.
I can say whatever I want.
Yes.
We start off with the one-on-one with Becca. They went to his loft and talked.
Yeah.
Had a nice little chit-chat.
I loved it.
It was very good.
It was real life. I loved it.
Exactly. Afterwards, they went to the roof and watched the sunset.
Yeah. Smooched a little bit.
It was all very sedate. It was all very calm and
so
quiet
cute.
and so forth. Okay. It was darling. Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, back at the hotel room, the women are talking.
Hey, what's everybody talking about?
And they're talking about all the drama that happened the night before.
Yeah.
In walks the girl.
Uh-huh.
She says she's packed her stuff and is considering leaving before the rose ceremony.
Oh, gosh. This was so dumb. Because how many of us really thought that she was serious?
I have a question for you. Do you think a person can listen with their eyes?
Listen with their eyes?
Because I've noticed that whenever the subject matter gets heavy or, like extremely controversial, Carly's eyes gets really wide. Like she's trying to use them to hear just a little bit better, even though she's right there.
I know.
The eyes pick up.
I love it. It's adorable, though, isn't it? It's just like she's thinking to herself, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is really happening.
Exactly. Right? Loving the Carly.
I'm loving her, too.
If I were to summarize what the women were trying to tell Britt in one question, it would be, you know you're a liar, right?
Right? Because they're saying, really? So you just said you're going to leave, and then you also just said, but you're going to talk to him. So there is a chance that you really couldn't leave.
No, I'm leaving. I'm leaving, but I'm going to talk to him tomorrow. So then Carly says, so then something could change between now and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nothing he could say could change my mind. I've decided to leave. You're sure about that? Well, there might be a 1% chance that I would stay, but I just don't see it happening. Because I already packed my stuff.
Here's the thing. If you're going to leave and if you're packing your stuff to leave, pack your stuff and ask the producers, can I just say goodbye? And just go with your suitcase, say goodbye, and then walk downstairs and get in the car and go.
Like Megan.
Right?
In appreciation for Megan's falling on her sword, I'm giving her a one-day woman contract. Fearless Host comes in and says, you know what? Chris has decided that there will not be a cocktail party. And Carly, her eyes, she physically picked herself up and turned to face Britt.
She did. And Britt's eyes got big.
Because she was like, this wasn't what I had planned.
Exactly.
But Carly said, And that was a direct quote. The translation was, how does that feel?
Here's the thing about Britt. Ever since I found out she was a big fat liar and stanky to boot, it's over. It is so over. I can't deal with it. Two things that I can't stand is if you stink and if you lie. Forget about it. I mean, I've lost any kind of, affinity I had for her.
Props to Farmer for putting the right number of phrases together because it never really came out in sentence form.
Poor Chris. I just feel for him.
He'll be fine. Britt needs to go home so she can get a hug.
Yeah.
Note to Carly, Britt was the most made-up girl in the room. She wasn't the most beautiful. She wasn't the prettiest. And don't forget, we don't call y'all the Fab Five for nothing.
Exactly.
I'm not happy that Carly got sent home at all.
Yeah. Who would you have sent home in her place, though?
Jade. When I say the Fab Five names, that's my order.
Yeah.
Becca, Whitney, Caitlin, Carly, and Jade. Although, I'm thinking about promoting Whitney.
Okay, no, she's my, number one front runner right now. I really want it to be her. I can see them together.
We start the hometown dates. First stop is, at least the first stop that they showed us, was Shreveport, Louisiana, to meet Becca's family.
Yeah.
I have a question.
What? Yeah, I want to know what you think.
What is with these fucking sisters? Laura last year.
Yeah.
Katie this year. And later, dealing with Kimberly when we get to Whitney. I mean, what's going on?
No, Kimberly, I was over it once we got to Kimberly at Whitney's.
Oh, my God.
And Whitney was devastated. You could see it.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, oh, my gosh, if she messes this up for Whitney, I'm going to be pissed.
We're going to stick with Becca for right now.
All right, let's go in order, yeah.
You're going to tell the first guy, and I'm talking about Katie, she's going to tell the first guy that her sister brings home that she's not an intimate person.
I know. Way to ruin it for anyone. It was bad. I thought to myself, why? Why would you say that?
And Mom was no better.
Well, you could choose some other words. You could choose some words like, we've never seen her be affectionate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is new for us to see her be this way with somebody. But to lay it all out there like that? Ugh.
They mentioned the fact that they could see that she was reacting and responding to him.
Completely
and they
different.
Still decided to go down this road.
Yeah.
I got a much better understanding now why Becca's still a virgin. See, because she's living with a house full of cock blocks. That's what her problem is. Damn.
Right. Oh my gosh.
She needs to move.
Never a truer word. That is so true.
I hope she's not living there. She needs to lose their phone number for about a year.
Yeah.
Just to get the stink off so
Not
she can get
good
some.
At all. But I liked the time that they spent together, like Chris and Becca. I loved the day that they had before they even got there.
They had a very good day.
Great day.
I liked the day.
And I thought, you know what? I can see him falling for her, and I can see her opening up to him.
We're going to Chicago to connect with Whitney. Farmer gets out of the car, and Whitney goes, "Hi!" Whitney decides to spend a day taking Farmer to work with her.
Which I thought was cool because he got to see kind of what she does, what she's passionate about, see her in her element. Yeah. There is something about seeing the person that you're dating or interested in or whatever you want to call it in their element and doing their thing professionally.
Doing the thing that they love doing.
It's hot.
Whitney is very straightforward. I don't think she acts. I don't think she puts on airs. It's like,
not at all.
I believe that she really enjoys her job and the miracles that she gets to be a part of on a daily basis.
I think it's really cool. I'd never thought of it as being this big noble kind of thing, but to see her in that space and, see her go through the process, I'm like, wow, that is really, it's not something you think about every day, but then when you think of it in those terms, it's like, you're giving hope to people who want a family.
I had big problems with Kimberly.
I wanted to take some duct tape and kind of put it over her mouth.
Whitney is sitting in front of her telling her she is in love with this man. And it's like she's begging her, please do not ruin this for me.
She's crushed.
I totally get being protective. I totally get wanting the best for your sister. But here's the thing. Does Kimberly really want to take responsibility for her unhappiness by saying, I'm not giving you dick because I don't want her to be one of 4.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? This is how it works.
That's how the show works. That's the whole premise. Why would you, especially because he was going there to ask her blessing. And he actually said that to Whitney.
He actually said the words.
Why would you take that away and be so cold?
I'm definitely on record with my whole problem with this process.
Yes.
And I don't think that I have felt the pain and frustration, because I definitely didn't feel this frustrated with the process last year.
Yeah.
Because I kind of knew there were all these other factors that was going to keep, Juan Pablo from wanting to dive in.
Yeah. It was a totally different season.
This year, he's been saying wife from day one.
Yes. And he's serious about that.
And he's not that good of an actor. So.
Thank God. Well, and Whitney is right there too. Like, she's in the same space as Chris is as far as what she wants in her life, the connection she feels with him, and what she's looking for in her future. So why would you jeopardize that?
She got me with the bottle of wine.
Oh my God, right?
I'll admit it. She got me with the bottle of wine.
When she was crying, I admit it, I was totally crying. Because it was so
Well, you don't have to admit it. We know
touching.
that you were crying.
Shut up.
We go to Phoenix, Arizona, where Caitlin's families, I guess they winter.
Right?
Because it's too dang cold up in Canada. They go to a recording studio to write and record a rap song. Remember what I said about American Idol?
Yes.
This
was bad. Poor guy.
It was bad.
He was trying so hard.
Note to Farmer, stay on the damn beat.
I know.
It's right there.
He can't.
Rhythmless Nation. Oh my God.
Oh, poor Chris. He gave it his best shot though, and that's what I love about him, is he's willing to just go for it.
Yeah, because he's not feeling the pain that we're feeling listening to him. See?
Made a total ass of himself, but he just did it. That takes guts.
When we get to Caitlin's parents' house, we get to meet the mom, the stepdad, the dad, the stepmom, and the sister.
Yeah, talk about a blended family.
Yes, and I like it.
It was really cool.
I'm all for it.
They were very comfortable being around each other. I thought, you know what? This is how it should be done.
My only concern with Caitlin is she's still a little too guarded.
Yeah.
It's really hard to see the sparks after seeing Whitney and Becca.
Totally. It's like night and day.
Yeah.
And she keeps saying, she wants to not be guarded. I'm thinking, girl, now is the time. Actually, 2 weeks ago was the time.
Yeah, she's a little late with that. And I'm sure Becca would be at that same place that Whitney was at if she knew how and her family taught her that it's okay to feel those things for boys.
Right. But even with that and that being said, I think she's doing really well as far as being really open with him and being affectionate with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Props to Becca.
I just don't want the boy to freak out when she drops the bomb on him next week, because it's hard now.
Yeah, right?
It's really hard for me to decide between Whitney and Becca.
Yeah.
Becca needs him to get the hell away from that house. I mean, she don't need no more Cock Block Central.
Yes.
That's just wrong.
She needs to get away. Run away!
Caitlin reminded me why a show like The Bachelor is so difficult for me to watch.
Yeah.
Like I said in my disclosure, there are people behind the people that we see.
Yeah, totally.
There's lives, there's experiences, there's heartaches, there's happiness, there's incredible stories. And when the camera's on, it's hard for me to believe that not just what we're seeing, but what they're seeing of each other.
Yeah.
Is the entire picture.
It's hard for you to see, you're saying.
It's hard for me to see because I'm dealing with the editing process and I'm dealing with all the stuff all the manipulation. But I'm talking about them, the people that are actually involved. There's still cameras, they still have makeup, they still have wardrobe, they give craft services and the best boy and the key grip and all these people while they're trying to find romance.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of reality missing from this reality.
But I gotta tell you, that being said, I can only use kind of our experience as something to compare it to. I remember when we first started doing this podcast, I was so conscious of being in front of the mic and all that kind of stuff that I just felt like this can't possibly be natural. Now, sometimes I forget we're even recording because you and I are just talking.
How long have we been doing this?
A year.
Okay, they're doing this for 2 months.
Yeah.
And we don't have 28 other heifers trying to like fight for the mic.
Is that the truth or what?
You could take Chris and any one of these 4 women, if they were pursuing a relationship in real life, I could see him with any one of these 4 easily.
Yep, I agree.
Even with the fact that he lives in a ghost town, pretty much.
Yeah, because when you see them together, they're dating.
It literally took 8 weeks for them to get to the point where they had enough time to be together to actually find out enough to be able to start that process. But now the freaking show's almost over.
Now it's super fast forward.
It's like, well, I'm glad that you got to know these 4 women very well and you got to meet their families and you got to take the pictures and get the billboards and ride the Ferris wheel and stuff.
Yes.
But now you got to send 3 of them home.
I know. But I gotta say, the next few dates, after we get to this process, the next few dates are gonna have a lot more time, right? It's not just like an hour here, an hour there.
I do understand the need and importance to create that bond and to get to know that person and to have that focus,
Yeah.
you know, that doesn't involve other people saying, okay, can you move to the right? Because we're losing the sun, you know, and all this other crap.
Right? That we don't get to see, but we know what's going on.
They edit that part out.
Yeah.
We're just getting to Gering, Nebraska and Jade's family.
Yeah.
As of the 2010 census, once again, Research King, Gering had about 20 times more people than Arlington.
Yeah, and you could tell that. You could see it.
Yeah, because shit was open.
But even with that said, Jade felt the need to get out of there and go to LA.
Exactly.
Right?
Chris arrives, and the storm clouds form, and the thunder
Lord.
rumbles, which we know are foreshadowers of
Yes.
evil.
And the family dampening begins.
But here's the thing. Out of all of these families,
They all had great families. So what was different about Jade's family, you feel, from the others?
what her dad said to Farmer.
Oh, that was so touching.
He said, I want Jade to live free, but love.
And when Jade was talking to her dad,
That's a very powerful statement considering that they live in a state that voted red for the last 12 presidential elections. That was deep
yeah,
on levels that I've yet to appreciate.
yeah, that was cool. And his conversation with Jade was cool. I just really liked the dad. I just thought, you know what? He's kind of got it in perspective.
I'm glad she finally told Farmer about the Playboy shots. I didn't realize she also did videos.
Well, isn't that part of the Playboy thing?
I have no idea.
You do the layout, but they also do this video for the Playboy channel, right?
It's been decades, yo. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
just saying.
how did you like Chris's, he just didn't even know what to do. Like, do I look? Do I not look? And then if I look, how do I react? Do I be respectful? Do I say, oh, ho, ho? Like, it just...
No, Farmer handled it as best as he could handle it. Given the circumstance.
Definitely.
He was surprised. He was a little shocked, not because of the photos, but just because of the inconsistency between
That's
how she
exactly.
presents.
That's what I was saying last week when I was saying it just doesn't, not that I have a problem with it, it just doesn't fit what we've seen of her thus far.
Not too surprising that she didn't get a rose.
Yeah. Well, because, and I liked what he said to her about that, because it was really true. He said, the relationships I have with the other girls are in a different place than they are with you.
But that kind of the canned speech that everybody gets.
But with him, I could totally see it, and I could feel it.
Once again, I don't know the boy. I don't know where he's coming from as far as that goes. If I were in his place, I would have come to the same conclusion. After what her dad told me, it wouldn't be fair for me to stuff her back into a small town box because she left a place that was bigger than where I live.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I can't compete with Los Angeles. Given the fact that she's trying to start this cosmetics business, It's like, look, we can't even keep the church open. Next week, I don't care. I'm pissed off. I had to deal with 5 hours this week.
I know, but next week is the overnights, and it's quality time with each girl separately, with nobody else, nothing else in the mix. So that's where you really get to see, can they have a conversation?
Will Becca give it up? I mean,
and you had to go there.
Hello. Fearless Host started this shit the first minute of episode 1.
Yeah, all he said was that there's a virgin in the suite. He didn't say, will she give it up?
Yeah, I know that's what he said, but I know he wanted the same question bouncing around in our heads for the next week. Will Becca give it up? That's our time for today. You can follow us on Twitter at @did_you_watch_it. You can also find us at iTunes. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening.